Hello, welcome to Rainbow Magician Tarot. My name is Mary. Thank you for joining me today. Today we are going to be doing a pick a card reading, which is going to be based on how can we find purpose and power in the midst of uncertainty and times of distress. So I thought this was kind of a timely reading with things going on in the world to kind of help us figure out the best way that we can find power through having some sense of purpose with what we are doing in our lives every day in the middle of this confusing time. So I'm going to be kind of doing this reading a little differently. I didn't really feel like doing a lot of preparation before I turned on the camera. Sorry, I just burned myself a little bit with this incense here. But I have some incense going. So you can just enjoy some of these visuals for a second. And I'm actually going to shuffle the cards on camera right now because, like I said, I just kind of didn't want to put that much preparation into this. I just kind of wanted it to feel natural. I'm only going to use one deck for this reading. I think we're going to do 6 cards for each group, or the 3 groups. So, yeah, if you want to skip ahead to the card selection, I'll put that in the description. But if you just want to hang out, then we can do that. So I'm going to go ahead and intend to pull 6 cards for group 1. Okay. So group 1. Okay. 1, 2. Okay, that's good. See if we can get these cards to cooperate. 3. 4. 5. I don't know if you enjoy the visual of me shuffling cards. I always get ASMR from people shuffling cards. But I need one more. Okay, that's too many, but we'll take that one. So we have group 1. Jesus, okay. Group 2, we need 6. Two, 3, 4, 5. I'm sorry if you hear all this rattling around. Hang on. Try to readjust a little bit. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, we need one more here. Take that one. 6, and now group 3. Can I have 6 cards, please? Whoa. Whoa, okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, we'll take that one. 5. And one more for group 3, please. Okay, thank you. So, we'll now get into the card selection. I have chosen 3 crystals. First one is this Snowflake Obsidian, which will be group 1. Next will be, which one of these? Next is going to be this one, which is Smoky Quartz, which will be group 2. Smoky Quartz with all of this incense smoke. Okay. And the last one will be this piece of opalite. This will be group 3. So I'll show you the cards if you would like to pick based off of the card stacks, and then we will get into group 1. Okay, so here are your card stacks. Again, this is group 1 with the Snowflake Obsidian, group 2 with the Smoky Quartz, and group 3 with the Opalite. So pause the video if you want, meditate on the cards, just choose whichever one you feel most drawn to, and click on the timestamp below and we will get into it. Okay, welcome group 1. So group 1, you guys had the Snowflake Obsidian. So we'll get into your cards. I don't know a lot about Snowflake Obsidian, so I don't know if I can tell you much about why you might have picked this. I believe it's probably a pretty good grounding stone, good for purification of energy. But so we'll get into it. So the first 3 cards are going to be a situation that is causing you in particular, so in your personal life, what is causing you the most distress, discomfort, unease right now. And then the second 3 cards will be practical steps that you can take, tips and tricks, suggestions, solutions, for ways in which you can feel more empowered, in which you can kind of extract a sense of purpose out of the situation. So we'll go ahead and flip the cards over. So your first 3 cards, again, this is the energies that you are currently being impacted by that are causing you distress. You have the 7 of Cups in reverse. You have the King of Wands in reverse. And you have Justice reverse. So you got a lot of reversals here. So with the 7 of Cups reversed, there's a lot of confusion. It's like you don't know what truth to trust. It's like everybody's got their own opinions. So it seems like you could be, it's like something is kind of clouding your vision. And it's like you don't really know what, it's like you have no idea what the heck to focus your energy on. I'm gonna try not to curse in these videos anymore, but it might be hard. You don't know what to focus your energy on, because it's like all of these things are kind of calling out for your attention, and you're like, I don't know what I'm supposed to be dealing with first. Everything is overwhelming and confusing. So you might have things relating to like your job, your like material abundance here. You have things relating to relationships, potentially. You have things relating to your environment, your house. You have things relating to your personality with this mask, and like ideas of who you think you are, your self-concept, things relating to your fears with this snake, and your kind of ideas, your inspirations with this dragon, and habits maybe with this like wreath. I don't know why habits came to mind for that. Like traditions, yeah, I don't know, traditions, something along those lines of like kind of material things that you tend to build your life on. So all of these things are kind of being put into question here. The dragon also could be like your spirituality or like your passions. But all of these things, it's like everything is just like tossed in the air and you don't know where to be focusing your energy right now, because it's almost like there's like a bunch of problems or conflicts with all of these different aspects of your life that kind of just came out of nowhere, and you're just like, what the heck am I supposed to be doing with that? So, and you have the King of Rods in reverse. So, okay, so there's a stifling of creative energy going on, which is also sexual energy, must be said. Sexual and creative energy are very much the same form of energy there. So, okay, so a stifling of sexual or creative energy. I don't know what the heck my hair is doing. It looks so gross. Anyway, I don't care about that. Okay. Maybe I'll just put the cards in front of my face so you don't have to look at me. So a stifling of creative energy, sexual energy, which actually kind of makes sense considering all of these things, because you don't know where to focus them. So it's like this, sexual energy is all about desire. It's about intense focus towards a desire, right? And it's like you have all of these things that represent things that you desire that are currently coming up into question. Like all of your desires that you've been working towards have come up into question. And so, that's now it's like you don't have a place to focus that creative drive, that creative life force energy, which is also synonymous with sexual energy. So because of that, there's a lack of focus there. And then with justice reversed, yeah, you feel like there's a sense of unfairness. It's like you're waiting for a sign to, like with this King of Rods reverse, sorry, I'm gonna go back to this for a second. It's like you're waiting for a sign to move, because it's like all of your desires have kind of been put into question, but you know what you thought you wanted, but you're like unsure of if you should go for it. This could also relate to a romantic partner of like you thought you had someone in mind that you kind of wanted to pursue, but it's like suddenly there's things that you're questioning. So there's just a lot of questioning, like a lack of focus in terms of your desires. And it's like kind of waiting for a sign. You're waiting for that green light. You're waiting for this sense that things are going to work out in your favor, that things are going to be fair, make sense. It's like when are we gonna get this sense of justice? Of course this also applies to collectively, our thoughts about the world, about how we might think that the world is very unfair, that society is very unfair. And we might be right about that in some ways, but it's like this sense of wanting justice, but it feels like it's like it's stifling you because there's no clear like time when you know that you're gonna get that sense of justice. So this is kind of all what is kind of blocking you right now, what is keeping you in this feeling of being very distressed, because it's like you have nowhere to focus your energy, right? So what are the tips? What are the solutions? What are the things we can do? First we have the 10 of Swords, and we have the 7, 8 of Wands reversed, and then we have the Nine of Cups. So, okay, so what can we do? Ten of Swords. That's a really fun card, right? Yeah. I think that whoever's watching this, needs to allow yourself, give yourself the grace to allow yourself to feel hurt. Give yourself the grace to allow yourself to feel defeated. Give yourself the grace to allow yourself to completely just kind of give up trying to control your thoughts, trying to control the situation, right? Give yourself the grace to have just some small moments of surrender, okay? It doesn't have to be all day, all the time. But just some small moments in your day where you just are, as much as you can, getting yourself into a place where you can kind of sink into all of your feelings of overwhelm, right? Because that's what is causing you this distress. So as much as you can, kind of give some presence and some loving time and energy to just kind of rest and but with intention, so however that looks like for you, that could be meditating. But when you meditate, you want to make sure that you're not meditating specifically for this group. You don't want to be meditating to the goal of meditation is not to stop thinking your thoughts. I mean, I don't think this should ever be the goal of meditation, but it's something that people might have a bit of a misconception towards. The goal is not to stop thinking your thoughts or to get rid of your thoughts. The goal is to be able to have a certain amount of peace with them where you can just kind of sit with them and let them be what they are, and you can let the emotions be the emotions. It's like you can let the pain be the pain, So you can meditate, you can just kind of, spend some time lying down, just kind of intentionally letting your feelings wash over you. You can listen to some calming music. I like to listen to singing bowls, those Tibetan bowls that you can find. Lots of people do long clips of them on YouTube, and meditation music, Reiki music, anything like that can kind of give you some soothing sounds if you're into that. And just kind of again, little bit at a time. You don't want to create more of an overwhelm for yourself by surrendering more than feels handleable to you. That's not a word, but you know what I mean? More than you can handle at one time. So, when you have all of these feelings of overwhelm and you don't know where to focus, it's the first thing to focus on is that feeling. It's try to direct your focus onto that feeling, or direct your focus onto the uncertainty or onto just the defeatedness, the apathy, whatever it is. It's like if you need to direct your focus somewhere, direct it onto that feeling, kind of as your first step, and you can do that in small little increments. Again, through these practices of surrender, be it meditation, yoga, however you want to do it. But it doesn't even have to be like spiritual in nature. It could be going on a walk. It could be riding your bike. It could be, playing your guitar, whatever. Like just anything where you're kind of in a state of non-resistance, whatever that might mean for you. So now we have the Eight of Wands in reverse. So yeah, okay, so this talks about momentum, right? And we were talking about the momentum kind of being halted, it's like there's not a focus to your energy, which in essence halts your momentum. So with this card, what I'm actually thinking of is almost like when you think of something that has a lot of like potential energy, like pulling a rubber band back, right? And think of kind of the anticipation that happens when you're pulling and 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 you're pulling, and you don't really know when you're gonna release, right? So in that moment of like pulling, it's almost like you can feel this anxiety, you can feel this anticipation, you can feel this like stuckness almost, because it's like, when is it happening? Nothing's happening. I don't know what's happening. It's kind of this like uncertainty, or this feeling of like, I'm not going anywhere, right? But what's happening is that you're increasing your potential energy. So what can happen during this time, even though you feel overwhelmed and you feel like there's nothing for you to focus on, what can kind of help you relieve some of the anxieties about that is to think about that this is the time when your potential energy is being increased. So it's like you're a rubber band and you're being pulled back, right? And the time is going to come when you're ready to like fly forward, right? So in the meantime, before you'll know when, like, it'll happen, kind of whether you consciously choose to or not, this forward like release of like all of that potential energy will happen, but it's kind of like trusting the divine timing for that. So in this time where it's like you're kind of in this waiting period, what you can be doing is, again, think of that metaphor of the rubber band being pulled back, and think about, this is my time to focus where I'm going to aim this rubber band, right? So I don't have to know the exact course of action this rubber band is going to take. I don't have to know, what all is going to happen when it lands. All I'm trying to do is trying to find some direction to point it. So that is kind of your goal right now, is while you're dealing with these feelings of overwhelm, of like, I don't know where to focus my energy, I'm kind of doubting all these things that I want, I feel like there's this sense of unfairness that I can't get what I want. What you are being asked to do now is to kind of simplify it down and say, okay, let me remember what it is that I'm wanting. Let me make that very clear. Okay, so you don't have to know how you're going to get it. All you have to do is look at these things that you were once wanting and say, okay, do I want this? Yes or no? And you got to kind of just like make a decision of whether or not that's something you're going to aim for, or whether it's something you're not going to aim for. And you want to try to be as like quick and easy with this as you can, understanding that the universe is still going to guide your rubber band in the direction that it needs to be. Like, if you shoot your rubber band somewhere and you're like, oh, that might have been the wrong direction, it's like, it's okay, because it'll be redirected, but you still need that momentum. You still need that aim somewhere, okay? So, kind of reevaluate, what is it that I actually want? And I don't have to know how I'm going to get it. I don't have to know how it's going to happen. I just want to get clear on what it is that I actually want. Understanding that during this time, what's happening is that my potential energy for this creation is being increased, and when the time comes, I will have this momentum again. But when that happens, I need to know where I'm heading. Okay? So I would actually make a list of things, like, what are things that I want? Or what are the things that I thought that I wanted before this situation happened where I'm doubting everything, and then make a check mark. Do I still want this? Yes or no? And then just leave it at that, okay? You don't want to overthink it. You want to simplify as much as you can. And then with the 9 of Cups. Okay, yeah, so again, this is about success, right? Look at all of these cups. It's like you were going to have all of your desires, right? All of these things that you're wanting, that you're like, oh God, I don't know if they're gonna happen, right? All of these things, they are meant to be yours. Like, you have the ability to create them, right? You have a lot of this life force, creative sexual energy that is just lacking the focus right now. So it's like, the more that you can kind of decide where you're pointing your arrow, just decide where you're gonna point that sucker. There's an innuendo in there probably. But the more you can decide where you're gonna point that thing, then the more success you are likely to have, because then once you finally get that release where it's like, you're not going to be like, oh God, what do I, like an arrow that's not pointed anywhere is going to be wibbly wobbling. So you want to make sure that you're just like, okay, I'm just going to point this somewhere, and it might be a complete shot in the dark. I might miss my target completely, but it's about shooting that missed target with confidence, okay? So, because the more conviction you have about the things that you want, then the greater likelihood that you will reach success, okay? Because if you're doubting yourself, then there's not going to be, like, that's cutting off your energy. Like, the second that you doubt yourself, that's part of this, this intense, like, life force creative energy that is, like, now going in the opposite direction, right? So it's about getting as much of yourself on board with the decision, and then just, like, committing to it, like, as much as you can. And this is, like, a very simple decision of, like, what is it that I want? I want this. That is, like, I'm going to commit to this. I don't know how exactly it's going to happen, but this is what I want, and I'm setting that intention. And then that will be everything that you need to kind of get you in the right position, so that when the timing is right, you will, like, have a takeoff, right? So I hope that helped you in some way. And yeah, be sure to let me know in the comments if you resonated. If it didn't, just take what works for you and leave what doesn't. As always, well, sorry about that. Thank you for watching, and if you are interested in booking a private reading with me, the info for that will be in the description below. Hope you have a wonderful rest of your evening or day, whatever time it is, and I will see you again very soon. Goodbye. Okay, group 2. So you guys chose the smoky quartz, which is really good for third eye, for gaining clarity about something, seeing through the smoke of the fire. I don't know. Just trying to come up with a metaphor, but I don't know if it worked. Anyway, so y'all are group 2, so we'll do same thing we did. We have 6 cards. First 3 are going to be situation that is causing you distress and anxiety, and the second is going to be steps, practical solutions that you can take to kind of gain some sense of power and purpose in this time. So the first 3 cards that you have are the Page of Cups, the Page of Swords. Oh my god, you have a lot of pages in this reading. And the 3 of Cups. I almost said the 3 of Women because there's 3 women here. The 3 of Women. I like that better, I think. And then I'm just going to go ahead and tell you second 3 cards just because I want to. You have the Wheel of Fortune in reverse. You have the Page of Rods in reverse. You literally have 3 pages in this reading. That's fucking insane. Sorry, I said I wasn't going to curse in this video, but it's too late for that. And then you have the Hanged Man. Okay. Okay, so let's start with your first 3 cards. So what is causing you distress, confusion, anxiety, etc.? Okay. Page of Cups. This card usually talks about surprises, unexpected things, something that turned out to be not quite what you were hoping or anticipating. Yeah, I'm sensing some disappointment with some something that you were looking forward to or putting your hopes into. There's a sense of disappointment. It's like you put your fish into a fish bowl, but then you ran out of water. Sorry. Sometimes I come up with analogies based on the cards and they're just kind of ridiculous, but because this fish is in this cup, right? But there's like no water. There's no water in it. So you put your fish, I feel like that needs to be a saying or something. Put my fish in the fish bowl, but I forgot to add the water. Like, doesn't that sound like a fake Southern saying? Okay. But yeah, it's like, it's like you put your investment into something, but then you like ran out of the things that you need to like nurture that, you know? It's like, you ran out of resources, I guess is what I'm trying to say. So it's like you put your energy into something. Maybe it could have been a financial investment, could have just been an energetic investment. Cups can talk about relationships too, so it could have been a investment into a relationship that you put your energy into, and then you kind of ran out of resources. And this could also refer to like emotional resources, like you ran out of energy and now you have this fish and it's just kind of neglected. Like you have this thing that you committed to that you now don't have the emotional energy to keep up with. is what I'm getting. And now there's like this poor little neglected fish that's like, can I please have some water? And you're like, sorry, I'm all out. Like, I don't know what to tell you, right? So there could be some guilt associated with this too. Like, or regret, like, oh God, what did I do? What did I sign up for? And then we have the Page of Swords. So interesting, there's like a factory in the background. I never noticed that before. Really interesting that you have 3 pages in this reading. Pages usually talk about kind of, they're the youngest of the I don't know what they're called, the royalty, like in the minor arcana, you have the page, the knight, the queen, and the king. So they're the youngest of those. So they can kind of represent that youthfulness. That can also be kind of like the naivety, don't think I'm saying that right. That can kind of come with that, can also kind of be it kind of explained by this card, or included in the energy of this card, with that sense of disappointment, because it's like you made a decision without all the information, without really knowing what you were doing. So it's almost kind of like the Fool card in that way. And so the Page of Swords represent thought. So something is like, you're trying to make something work. Like you're searching for some for something new to create or produce. Again, with the factory, it's like you're searching for a new industry. That's the word I was looking for. You're searching for a new industry. So this could have to do with career, or just like, something to do with like the way that you spend your time. You're searching for a new kind of industry to get involved in or put your energy into. A new way of, or like system of thinking, almost like a new set of ideas that you can attach to. Because I guess you have decided that this is not happening for you. Whatever thing this was that you thought was going to be emotionally fulfilling but ended up being draining in some way. Could have been some kind of relationship or just some kind of commitment, and it's like now you are searching for something new, like you're searching for a new world, a better way to live your life, right? And then we have the 3 of Cups with these 3 very intense women here. I always just think that they're like staring into my soul when I look at it. Interesting that you have 3 pages and you have the 3 of Cups, so there's something with 3 here. 3 can talk about creation, collaboration, integration, I'm almost getting like a past, present, and future kind of vibe here of like the archetype of like the maiden, mother, and crone, I think it is. So like generations. It almost feels like you've angered. Like you feel like you've upset someone, or like you've angered some people. Or you feel like someone is angry with you. It could be like relatives, ancestors, maybe. Like I'm kind of getting the sense of like, I feel like I've upset like the previous generations of my lineage or something. Like, I don't know. Yeah, I feel like you've done something where it seems like you have these like these feminine energies that are like upset with you or something. Again, with this cup, it's like you couldn't make it work, right? You tried to make something work that was an emotional investment. You tried to get your own cup filled somehow, but it ended up taking from you. Okay, so here's what I'm getting. So you are trying to get your own needs met. You're trying to get your own cup filled emotionally, but it seemed like you maybe tried to put yourself out there and, you know, try to give your cup to someone to fill, metaphorically speaking. So you are like, you know, putting yourself out there saying, hello, this is like my heart. Can you give me some love, right? But it seems like what they did is they kind of just wiggled their way inside of it like this little fish. And now they're the one asking for stuff from you. So it's like now they're the one that is draining you for your resources when you were just trying to get your own needs met, your own cup filled. But now it's like you just feel more drained, is what I'm getting with that. And then it's like it's like these generations, this generational pattern of like all of these people, these feminine energies that also did not get their needs met. You know, it's I am getting a feminine energy with this. So it seems like there's some wounding with the feminine energy not getting its needs fully met. And this feminine energy, again, doesn't have to belong to any particular gendered body, but just as a archetypal energy that exists within everyone. But it's like these generations of feminine energy that are just like waiting for their cups to be filled. Yeah, it's like this anger. It's like this feeling of injustice, unrighteousness, of like, where is our reward? Okay, this is coming to me more and more now. Yeah, it's like, where is our reward? You know, where is it? When do our cups get to be filled? You know? So this is also very like reflective, I guess, of collective energies of, you know, there's a lot of women and feminine identified people who have been wronged and who do feel a sense of injustice. And yeah, it's like this anger of like, when is this going to stop? And so there's almost like this movement, this collaboration that's happening with you, where it could be with generations of like family members who have gone through the same thing, this kind of generational wounding that happened. Or it could also be with like some friends that you have where it's like, you know, all of us have been wronged and now we're all just like waiting for our cups to be filled, you know, like it's almost like we're kind of banding together and trying to find a way to demand a solution to this. All right. Okay, interesting. The Page of Swords is interesting also how this seems more of a masculine energy here. So it could have been that if this is having to do with a relationship, that the masculine energy in the relationship, and not to say that it has to be a, you know, male and female relationship, but it could have been, you know, if that is the case, that the masculine energy in the relationship kind of wasn't committed or decided that they wanted to look elsewhere with this Page of Swords. Okay. Yeah, or it could be having just to do with you, like as an individual. There has been a barrier, it seems like, to you getting what you want, right? Because every time you try, it just kind of ends up biting you in the ass and taking more from you. So it's almost like you have kind of had to dress in disguise to try to get what you want, to try to like invade the industry that it seems like you couldn't get into before. You know, like, or like you had to be the opposite energy, like you had like whatever energy it was that you were needing, like if you kind of needed someone to fill your cup, it's like, you know, again with this like yin and yang, it's like if you needed this yang masculine energy, you had to like become that in order to get what you wanted. And now there's this sense of injustice that feels kind of like generational, of like all of these ancestors and this like collective asking for justice, for retribution. Yeah, I'm trying not to make this like too gendered, but like intuitively I am picking up on that there is a lot of women watching this group. And so that's kind of the lens that I'm reading through. But again, you know, just apply this to you however it, you know, works for you personally. But that is just, I feel like a large group of people who picked this are women who have like tried to do something where there was a barrier because of their gender, because of their, you know, presentation, because of their energy or something having to do with femininity, that then it's like you kind of had to try to become the opposite of that. But all that it kind of left you with was this sense of like still longing for more, and like you may have found solidarity with others who are in a similar situation, but you still kind of haven't found that resolution to what you were looking for. So again, just apply this however it works for you, but I just have to say what I'm picking up on. So, for steps that you can take. Sorry that this group took me a while to kind of figure out, because these energies were kind of a little confusing. But for this group, for steps that you can take, we have the Wheel of Fortune in reverse. Okay, so the tides are changing, the wheels are turning, right? The wheel is turning. The cycle that has hurt you in the past is ending. And there is going to be a unity between these yin and yang energies that has caused so much of this upheaval, which I feel in this group. I really feel like there's a big disconnect between this yin and yang, masculine and feminine energies in this group. But there's going to be a unity happening soon. But in order for that to happen, it's like we kind of need to stir everything up so that we can, like, you know, purify it, you know? It's like when you're scrubbing a pot. Like, if you have, I don't know why this example just came to me, but like if you are cooking with something and you get a pot really dirty, you know, if you have a lot of like crummy stuff inside of the pot, before you can get it clean, you're gonna have to like get it all soapy and get it, like, you're gonna have to make this big like mess of like dirty water in the sink, you know. And so for a while it's gonna be this gross dirty water where it's like murky and you can't see anything and you're like, ew, this is gross. But then, like, once you rinse it out, it's like, oh, I have a clean pot. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know why that was the analogy that came to me, but it's like sometimes in order for the purification to happen, you gotta like let everything get stirred up first. So that's something that you can kind of think about with like things that may be happening in your personal life or in the world in general. It's like we gotta stir the stuff up in order for, you know, what is no longer necessary to kind of fall away. See, we have this little guy falling away over here. So, you know, that's something to keep in mind. As for something practical that you can do, you can kind of consciously choose to join this energy of, you know, turning the wheel. How are you going to help turn this wheel? How are you going to help this unification between this yin and yang energy kind of happen? Right? What is your role gonna be in that? So, you know, find some way to get inspired for what you want to look like. I'm also seeing like a movie here, like with, it almost looks like, you know, those like old-fashioned like things that they had to wind up for movies, you know what I'm talking about. So it's like it's like what do you want the end of this movie to look like, right? Like, what is the climax? What is the resolution here? You know, like, who are you letting write? Who is in the director's seat of your life? Who are you letting write the script of your life? Right? Like, you know, are you turning the wheel, or are you letting your anxieties, your fears turn the wheel? So ask yourself that, right? Like, figure out how you can be the person who turns the wheel of your own life. right? So, you know, what do you need in order to kind of get to that point? We have the Page of Rods in reverse. So again, we have our third page here. There's a need to kind of re-explore sexuality. I want to say, a need to re-examine, re-examine your sexual energy. Interesting also with these 3 pages. The Page of Cups to me looks very feminine. Page of Swords looks very masculine, and the Page of Rods almost looks kind of androgynous to me. I don't know, that's just the way I'm perceiving it. But with the Page of Rods, it seems like there's a need to kind of let go of these preconceived notions or ideas of like sexuality, you know, of right and wrong, of, you know, what I should be allowed to want as a man or a woman or whatever gender I am. Like, you know, there's all of these limiting perceptions that we have based on, you know, these kind of societal conditionings. So there's a need to kind of re-examine what it is you are actually desiring in terms of relationships, in terms of sexuality, right? Re-examine those things, get back in touch with that, you know, kind of with a fresh mind, a fresh point of view, like just kind of act like you're, you know, like you're an alien and you're exploring this for the first time and you don't know anything. It's kind of a good mindset to have with that. And also it's like, yeah, it's like this stifled passion, this stifled creativity that's happening because of this limitation that is being placed on, again, on sexuality or on, you know, ideas of what you can or can't do because of gender or because of, you know, something to do with how you identify in the world. You know, there's a need to kind of re-examine those beliefs, re-examine what makes you passionate, and like kind of get a firm grip on that. Anyway, a firm grip. Just get a get a nice, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, it's like, you need to re-examine the things that make you passionate, you know, not just in a sensual way or a sexual way, but also in just like a, you know, a life way. Like, what are you passionate about? And then lastly, we have the Hanged Man. Okay. Try walking in somebody else's shoes. It's kind of what I'm getting with this. It's like, take a different look, take a different perspective. You know, it's like there might be an idea that, again, I don't want to gender this too much, but it's like, I feel like if there are women watching this who have had negative experiences with men, that there is maybe this energy of like, fuck all men, like, just like hang the man, like, I don't want anything to do with him. Okay, I'm just picking up on what I'm feeling. So if that's the case, it's almost like, okay, well, let's say that you did that, right? Like, what would you get out of that, you know? And like, if you were in this person's perspective, if you were in this masculine perspective, you know, what would things look like, you know? So I feel like there's a need to reconnect with whatever perspective is most opposite to the one that you are currently holding. So whether you're more identified with your yin or your yang, which yin is feminine, yang is masculine, whether you're more identified with either of those, there's a need to get in touch with the opposite and kind of try on that perspective for size, right? So that could just look like having conversations with people, or it could just look like something that you do kind of as an imaginative exercise on your own, a meditative exercise. I feel like there's a need to go out of your comfort zone and try something a little bit new, to expand your perspective, because you really need to get a new perspective on these issues here. So yeah, like take some kind of journey, some kind of guided meditation maybe, or could even be a physical, like just go somewhere you haven't gone, talk to someone you've never talked to before, do something that's a little out of your comfort zone, you know. Anything unexpected can give you the perspective that you might be needing, right? And, you know, understand that all of this is happening because the wheel is being turned, you know, because shifts are happening. So how can you best kind of ride the waves, you know? How can you kind of ride the ups and downs of what's happening and kind of get in touch with these natural cycles that are happening? If you're a woman, again, or if you have a female body, you might want to learn more about your like period cycles, get in touch with that. With these cycles, it's like you want to understand the cycles. So yeah, and like something like there's a lot of like history here that maybe needs to be looked at. So some kind of like maybe expand your perspective by learning about the history of whatever issues that you might be facing on an individual level that are more indicative of more long-running kind of societal issues. It's like, get some perspective on that, do some studying, and not out of some like, reason that's like, oh, I have to make myself better, I have to know this in order to be a good person. It's like, you don't need to do anything really if you don't want to, but if you want to understand how to, kind of have some agency in these cycles of change, you need to understand how these cycles work, So that's what I'm getting for your, overall advice. Explore new ideas, explore new passions, explore your sexuality, get a different perspective, get in touch with your yin and yang energies. There's some meditations you can look up for that. Do new things and try to find a way to confidently ride the cycles of life. So I hope that was helpful. This particular group was a lot longer than the last one because I just took took a while to kind of get my groove on with it, but hope that you still found it helpful. As always, thank you very much for watching. And if you are interested in a private reading with me, the info for that will be in the description below. So please check that out if you're interested. And otherwise, I will see you very soon. Thank you. Okay, hello group 3. Please excuse the fact that I look totally different. I could not film this all in the same day, so I'm filming this part many days later. So I apologize for that, but I have relit, or rather lit a new incense stick, so we're still vibing here, still have our intention set. So, and I still have your cards that I pulled from last time. So we are going to get into it. So again, the first 3 cards that I am going to pull are going to be what is kind of bringing you anxiety and stress in the moment. And the second 3 cards are going to be practical steps that you can do to help remedy that anxiety. So the first 3 cards you have are the Knight of Rods in reverse. And you have the Lovers. And you have the Queen of Cups. So, I'm going to tune into these for a second. So I think what is kind of causing some distress here is that you're wanting a relationship or some kind of romantic endeavor. Here with the Lovers card, perhaps you have someone who you are thinking of that you really want to make things work with. Maybe it was someone that you did have a thing with and then now it's ended but you still have feelings, or it could be someone that you haven't had anything happen with yet but that you are kind of really wanting. However, with this Knight of Rods in reverse, it's like I feel like have been hyper romanticizing this relationship to where now it's like you can't really see the reality of what is going on, and so you feel confused because you don't know if these feelings or perceptions you're picking up on are just all in your head. Like, do they feel the same way? Am I crazy for thinking this? So I'm definitely getting some confusion there because there is such a desire for this that romanticism or kind of like fantastical it's almost like this fantastical kind of overlay that you're putting on the relationship is making it so that you can't really see the reality of what it is, and so you feel confused, like you don't really know if you can trust your feelings. There's a lot of passion here with the Knight of Rods, but it's like you don't know whether to trust that or not. And then with the Queen of Cups, yeah, this is about, emotional receptivity. So it seems like you have a desire to genuinely just be like very open and to have your match, have someone come and like fill you up. So it's almost like you're kind of just waiting for that. But I feel like you may be waiting for the wrong thing to happen. It could be that you're waiting for the wrong person, or that you're just waiting. You're expecting something in a way where it's not going to happen in the way that you're expecting, if that makes sense. it's like you've set the intention out into the universe, like I want to find my person, I want to find this connection. If romance isn't really a thing for you, this could just be an intimate connection with someone, like some kind of connection with a friend or whoever it may be. It doesn't have to be romantic in nature, but just this desire for intimacy, for true connection. And it's like you've set this intention and you're like, okay, where is it? I'm waiting, you know, but it's like you are only looking at, you're only looking in one direction because you've kind of found someone or something that you think is what you want, and so you've like just kind of placed all of your bets on this one thing and placed all of your sights on this one thing to a point where it's kind of limiting you, you know, like you can't, it's like this little this shield from your eyes almost, like you can't really see everything else, all the other options that you might have, and so you're kind of getting yourself into a bit of a bind because you're stuck kind of waiting to receive, but you're not realizing that there are other opportunities to receive around you that don't have to come from this one person or this one situation. And that's not to say that that situation is never going to be something that could add to this cup of yours. However, you're not going to get everything you need from it, you know, if you don't first resource all of the other things that are around you. So that's what I'm getting for kind of what is kind of causing you distress. It's because you don't really know what to think. You feel anxious almost because you're in this waiting state, and it's almost like this kind of anxious attachment of like, well, are they gonna call me, or you know, are they gonna text me, what's up, am I like, I'm just waiting, I'm here, like, you're gonna fill my cup, like, what, you know. So it's a lot of like that kind of anxiousness within the context of a relationship, because you have placed all your eggs in one basket, so to speak. You've been like, okay, you're my person, so I am going to place all my expectations onto you, you know, and you haven't really given them the chance to like show you if that's what they want to do or not. Like, you've just kind of jumped the gun a bit, and you're missing out on all of the other opportunities around you. Like, look, she has this ocean around her that she could fill this cup up with, you know, all these other people, all these other resources that she could utilize, but she's only focused in one direction, right? So it's not to say that you just have to like fill your cup up yourself and just love yourself. I mean, all of that, loving yourself is very helpful and very necessary, but you do need other people. So I'm not saying that you need to just stop your needing of other people, but what I am saying is that you might want to take a look around and resource the things and people in your life differently, and say, oh, okay, maybe I'm not going to get the connection that I want from this person in this way. Maybe I can get it from this person. Maybe I can get it from this. And if you don't have all these people that you feel like you can get that from, then what are the steps you need to take in order to actually find them? So we'll move into kind of some of those steps now with the second set of cards here. So we have the Five of Swords in reverse. We have the Sun in reverse. And we have the Eight of Cups. So let me tune into these for a second. Okay, so with the Five of Swords in reverse, I'm sensing that there might be some elements of self-sabotage going on, where you're kind of like, it's almost like because you are placing all of your eggs in one basket, you're placing all of your expectations onto one person, evidently it's not, you know, eventually it's not going to work out that way. And I think that there's a part of you that knows that, but it's almost like you're waiting for it to be taken away from you so as to prove to yourself that you can't have good things, you know? It's like this part of you that's gonna kind of, they're gonna be like, see, I told you, we shouldn't have done that. Told you it was stupid to have, you know, to want this. It was stupid to, you know, it's like you're gonna start like scapegoating your own like desires and be like, it was stupid for even thinking this would work in the first place. Like, you know, a lot of that kind of self-blame. And that's gonna kind of be a self-sabotaging energy, because all you're going to do then is like keep yourself again from resourcing the things that you have around you to meet your needs. So as far as a practical step to take for, you know, for this to kind of get in touch with this is to figure out what it is that you are afraid of. So there's something that you are afraid of losing. Whenever we have a self-sabotaging pattern, it's because we're afraid of losing something usually, and so it's like I'm gonna take it away from myself before someone else can take it away from me. So it's a way to gain power in that way. So something you can kind of do is figure out how you can gain power. So, you know, you can think, okay, worst case scenario, if I did lose this, you know, how can I still have power in that scenario so that I don't feel so threatened by it, right? So you can, like, you know, make a list of ways in which you can feel empowered in the scenario. So that would be one like practical thing that I would do if I was in your shoes. You know, just kind of like a journaling exercise. Worst case scenario, what am I afraid of happening with this person or this situation? And then how can I become empowered? First of all, become empowered in preventing that worst case scenario, and also how can I feel empowered in the event that it did happen? What are some ways that I could still feel empowered in that scenario as well? So that's something that you can kind of do to kind of get yourself to release some of the resistance that you might have to this idea of, like, you know, of losing something because you wanted it too much, or whatever the perception or belief is there. So yeah, so I think there's some need to kind of also just like express some maybe bottled up emotions with that, for sure. There's a lot of trust issues here also. So, you know, that's also with the self-sabotage, it's all about not trusting that you can have something that you want, right? So, whatever you can do to kind of gain a trust with yourself, and also I would say like with the universe in general, or just like with, you know, with life, like what are ways that you can build some like self-trust? So that can be things like setting some habits for yourself that make you feel good and make you feel grounded, right? So maybe you like going on walks every day and that really makes you feel good. Maybe you like reading in the morning. Maybe that makes you feel good. Maybe you like meditating. Whatever makes you feel good. So this is not habits that you want to set to improve yourself. Like, oh, I'm going to work out every day because I want a nice body. No, it's I'm going to do this because I want to feel good. If working out feels good to you, then add that into your schedule. But you want to add things, you know, that feel good to you, that you can kind of commit to, so that you can kind of build a sense of self-trust and a sense of safety, so that so you don't feel as disempowered, right? And so then we have the second card, which is the Sun in reverse. And so yeah, so there's a need to reconnect to things that bring you joy, right? Because there's a disconnect from that right now, because it's in reverse. It's like you're kind of distrustful of anything that feels good to you, right? So this could have to do with the past relationship that happened, where it felt really good when it was happening, but then when it got lost, now you feel like all of those good feelings weren't real, or are gonna get lost again. So again, kind of dealing with that sense of loss. So something that you can do to kind of reconnect to those things that feel good to you is, again, try to find enjoyment in like the little things, like all of these sunflowers here. Sunflowers, when they grow, they always grow towards the sun, right? They actually move and shift depending on where the sun is. So that's a really important lesson that we can learn, is to always grow towards the sun, to always grow towards the things that make us feel good. So I was kind of going back to what I was saying, to kind of prevent this self-sabotage, to turn your attention to the things that feel good and have a kind of commitment to them. Like, okay, it feels good when I sit outside when I eat my breakfast, or, just an example. That's something I like to do sometimes. But whatever it is for you, like whatever feels good to you to implement into your kind of daily routine, to kind of give you a sense of empowerment, and that you can actually create your own happiness. You can actually find a joy in the little things, and it doesn't have to be like, it doesn't have to be this huge, expansive feeling. It can really just be like as simple as, I want to eat an orange right now, I'm going to eat an orange, and that's going to make me feel good, Like, it doesn't have to be this like transcendental experience of like extreme bliss. Like, you can just kind of focus on the little things and the amount of joy that they can give you, and that will really help you to be able to feel more positive and more optimistic about the situation that you're in, because there is a lot of pessimism here with this Five of Swords in reverse. There's a lot of pessimism, a lot of doubt that you could ever have this good feeling type of relationship again, or even just these feelings in general, that you can even like get to that place of joy again. And then with the Eight of Cups in reverse, this is usually a card about kind of releasing or walking away from the past, leaving it behind, right? So this might, speak to things that you can do to kind of release yourself from the hold that your past conditioning has put upon you, right? So whatever rituals you like to do to kind of help you feel that sense of like release or closure, as long as they are healthy and things that you are doing that don't depend on anyone else. So a lot of times when we're trying to get closure for situations, we give our power away, and that we say, oh, I'll get closure when they reach out to me, or when they say sorry, or if they do this or this. And that's actually giving your power away. So you're not actually getting closure that way, because you're putting yourself in a state of waiting. So what can you do with yourself that doesn't involve, depending on someone else who might not do what you want them to do? What are some things that you can do with yourself to help give you closure, to help kind of release yourself from this past pattern, right? So that could be like writing down what you want to release and then burning it or burying it. That's just one tool that you can use. Or since this is water here that I'm seeing, you could drown it in water. It's another technique. You can, if you live near a body of water, water can be very cleansing, especially natural water. if you can like submerge yourself in natural water with the intention of releasing emotion, that can be very powerful also. But yeah, just anything you can do that feels good to you to kind of signify a release. I mean, you can even use like your shower water if you want. And I like to do like really, really cold showers sometimes to, because it can stimulate your I think it's your parasympathetic nervous system or sympathetic. I don't know which one. One of them is responsible for calming you, and the cold water can kind of be a good trigger for that calming and revitalizing. Or I guess it's more like awakening than calming, but it does have an effect on calming your anxiety because it's energizing, like it's giving you more of a sense of empowerment. So, I mean, that's just one example. Again, whatever feels good to you to do some kind of releasing ritual. And I do feel like water can be a very powerful tool for you. So that was why I was giving all those examples. But, whatever feels the best for you to kind of say, okay, I'm leaving this chapter of my life behind. What's something that I can symbolically do to signify that I am going to move forward with this, right? And, that can also involve needing to release a lot of emotions. So allow yourself to just fully release all of those, right? And fully feel them. You don't need to like rush the process or try to bypass through them, but you can just kind of allow them to flow through you however feels best for you. If you just want to put on some music and cry for a while, like put on some sad songs and just cry it out, you can do that. We all have our different ways of kind of bleeding emotion from us, if you know what I mean. So as long as it's not hurting you or anyone else, do whatever you can to express that, let it flow through you so that you can then release it and begin to move forward in a different direction. So I hope that was helpful, group 3. Let me know in the comments below if it resonated. And thank you very much for joining me. Just once again, reminder, I have some paid readings available on my Etsy shop. So if you're interested in a one-on-one reading with me, feel free to check that out. The link is below. And that's all I have for you. So thank you so much for joining, and I'll see you sometime very soon. Namaste.